Natasha Riddell.
Yay! So introduce yourself. What kind of artist are you?
Totally, I'm gonna take the mic. The Hello Kitty mic. My name, as I said, is Natasha Riddell. I am a drama major here at the University of Alberta. We are currently in one of the many little rehearsal rooms for it. And my minor, I do at McEwen. I am an arts and cultural management student. So trying to live in a world that's both admin and art and always fun. In the land of artistry, I do a few things. I'm a theater artist, I am a director, a producer, a production manager. In addition to that, I like to perform. I also like to write poetry. So I am humbly trying to be a poet as well. Yeah.
Do you have any tips for emerging artists?
Yes, the tip is put yourself out there for everything. It doesn't matter if you don't feel that you're qualified. It doesn't matter if you have like imposter syndrome and you think it isn't for you. Do it. That's the only reason I am currently here, is because once upon a time I saw an email for Ink Movement and I had never even remotely considered publishing my poetry or getting it published. I sent a few poems along. I got the news that I was chosen, and it created a snowball effect where from there I got a chance to read for the Edmonton Poetry Festival, and then from that experience, a percussionist in the city found me and said, hey, I have this jazz ensemble. We want to do this thing where we combine spoken word poetry with jazz. I know, right? And I said, heck yeah, let's do it, even though I had never really done something like that before. And so to say, because of Ink Movement, I am now in a jazz ensemble performing my poetry across Edmonton and Red Deer. Super cool.
So cool.
I didn't know if I could be published, so just do things. Put yourself out there.
What's the name of your jazz ensemble?
The jazz ensemble is called Running Running. If you like poetry and you like music, come find us. We are myself, Zane Baker, the percussionist, Kessler, who is our standing bassist, Ethan, who is our bass and guitar player, and Keaton, who is our guitar player. They're all super cool cats and very talented. Yeah. So put yourself out there, do things, even if you don't think that you're qualified to do them, because it will lead to something. Yeah.
Do you want to talk more about your experience doing spoken word at the Edmonton Poetry Festival?
Yes, I would love to. Okay, it was really cool. In essence, the premise was of the pieces that I submitted to Ink Movement for publication, I took those and then I took a few new poems that I had been working on and I got to read them for the EPF. So I was fortunate enough that the Ink Movement slot was on Laureates Night, so I got to listen to some absolutely incredible poets from across the city, from outside of the city, representing their districts, and it not only was an inspiration for what poetry could be, but it also really made me, it had to instill me with a sense of confidence, because to read your poetry on the same night as Laureates Night is kind of scary. So yeah, you just gotta say, exactly, it's like, oh, I'm the hors d'oeuvre tonight. Yeah, it's a cool experience, because I think that a lot of people think of poetry as existing in two worlds, two binary worlds, where it's either you're like spoken word poet, and then they're quick to think of like, what is it, 21 Jump Street, where they're like, Sylvia, or they think, okay, poetry is a literary form, so it sticks to a piece of paper. And it made me grow as an artist, because a lot of the poetry that I had written was simply fit to paper. I like to play around with how it is arranged, but then it opened a whole other door for me, which I should have gotten there before because I do theater, but it was how do you translate poetry into performance. So it was a really cool experience, just to try and see what happens. Yeah.
What do you enjoy about art in general?
I think that art is an essential and just absolutely crucial element of humanity, because art is self-expression, and whatever medium you choose for art is your way of expressing what you think might be inexpressible through other forms of life. I feel very strongly that art is essential for humanity, because especially, you know, we're in a recession, we're going through hard socioeconomic times, and during those times people are quick to say, okay, well, art comes last, because art is a luxury. But in reality, art is also storytelling, and I think so much of like the same cycles of hurt that we perpetuate in society is because those stories are not being honored, they're not being heard, and they're not being expressed, maybe because they can't be. So yeah, I enjoy art because while it is entertaining, while it is like an outlet for creativity, it's also a building block of humanity. And to see everybody's different art forms, especially being here at the U of A in theater, and seeing people express their stories in solo work, in clown, in improv, in monologue writing and performance, in playwriting, and then seeing the other side of things where how people express their feelings, their thoughts, their ideas through music, through poetry, through literary forms. I appreciate art because it can be compartmentalized, it can also be holistic, and all of it is commentary, and all of it is necessary commentary. Yeah.
Yeah, and also, that's also a big part of like why ink movement exists, like especially for youth, so they can have this outlet, and like you said, to have themselves put themselves out there and get these opportunities, especially because like art can be a luxury, but it can also be like you can do it like on the side, you can do it anytime you want if you just find the outlets and like have the creativity in you, especially like, for example, a lot of our ink movement members are artists and are like STEM majors, so you don't necessarily have to be like an art major, and it's pretty accessible.
Yeah, and you know what, if I may, something that I've thought a lot about during the course of this degree is who is making the really relevant art, who's making the really important art, and honestly, like a lot of times what people are quick to discount people, at least in a program like this, who are outside of the arts doing their own thing, but people who work in STEM, in any STEM-related field, or they're trained there, they have so much to bring to art too, because they have a whole independent discipline of study, of, you know, perhaps like looking into like the ecological crises that are happening, and they can offer that through storytelling. So I honestly think that art is also a weapon, and it's a weapon that can be used for social impact, and folks who are in a career that has to do outside of like the realm of like, oh, well, I'm a theater artist, they have a lot of really, really vital storytelling to provide. Yeah, art is for everyone.
Yeah, and like I'm of the belief that like science is storytelling.
Yes, it is.
It's definitely storytelling. We just have different ways to tell stories.
Yeah, different ways to express it, totally. So cool.
So if you could describe yourself as an artist in one word, what would it be?
Interdisciplinary. How about you?
Wow, I didn't expect that to be like
Turn it into
a reverse Uno on me.
Yeah.
I would say, what is it? What's that word? I have a word in mind.
Describe it.
It's like, I was gonna say arbitrary because I do art at the most random times, and it's not really random, it's more like
Spontaneous?
Yeah, spontaneous.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
And then one more question. Will you submit to the ink movement anthology this year?
Yes! Because why? It's an opportunity with a cool group, and I will do it, and therefore you should do it, and we all should do it, and maybe we'll all write at the poetry festival together, and then maybe we'll all form our own jazz band together, and that'd be so freaking cool.
Yes. Thank you.
Of
so
course.
much. And also, like, the Edmonton Poetry Festival reminds me that we are in contact with them still, so we might end up doing something.
So cool. The ink movement is vital. The ink movement is very cool and a good organization.
Put this in the video.
Yes, and folks, you must, you simply must, if you are at all interested in any form of like prose, poetry, have you ever written poetry before? Doesn't matter, write it anyways. You have valuable artistic input, you are creative, you should put that on paper and put it somewhere. Skip beat, and of course the glance behind. I winnowed that golden plain. I screened and I picked what we sowed in slower spells. I baked memories into loaves, and I made the Last Supper from our harvest.
brown fur fled when the feet are empty. I watched all the life we knew migrate, and I guess the time of my changing followed their compass as I have migrated too. So I trace these ripples now. I wade across the trail, and I know I will meet green again as another stranger, and I count my progress and the impetus to move.